Hello and welcome to Sage's Retreat. We have got something special today. Normally we cover a bit of everything. You know our normal routine, what we do, but today, welcome to our Back in Time special. We are going to look at a year and more specifically a month. This one brought us the Spice Girls to our ears. Of course, we all love that. Dolly the Sheep to Earth, and luckily Shell Suits were long gone and I was out of school. Me personally, I was out of school. I know some guys weren't out of school. We had the year that had the most expensive football transfer ever, and if you're wondering, that was Alan Shearer, and several half-decent films were released, even one that was slightly shocking. If you were born in this year, you're probably about 24 years old. The year today, can anyone do a drum roll? I'll do it. 1996, but if you've seen the thumbnail, you will already know that. We've knocked together a short list of the more interesting things that have popped up during the month of July. Some might have been just before, some just after, but they're all relevant. Nathan is here as always, and today we have Ben as well. They are both going to tell me right now about what 1996 meant to you. And Ben, go first.
Oh, what did it mean to me? Well, I was about 8-year-old, I think. I think I worked at that 8-year-old. I forget how old I am now. So
Wait, when were you born?
it's a bit of math. 87.
Okay. So yeah, you would. Yeah.
Yeah, so to be honest, coming back to that sort of age, it's like they all sort of blur together. So, but one thing I definitely remember is the Euros being on. So obviously 1996, but back end of June were when we got knocked out. So we'll stay at beginning of July, seeing as it parallels with today's Euros with Germany at Wembley and all that.
Of course, yeah. When's that on? That's Tuesday, isn't it?
Tuesday, 5 o'clock. Obviously,
I'm at work.
Oh no.
It's okay. The guy that I'm at work with loves football, so I suspect we'll be watching it.
Yeah. You'll get it on.
Yeah, definitely. So Euro '96 was a big memory for yourself. Me too. I mean, we'll carry on. I was like 16 at the time, so it was all the buzz. All the lads were talking. I'm not a big football fan, but everyone was going on about it. Yeah, definitely a big year for us.
Yeah, I just remember being devastated. Like, you know what? I can clearly remember the day. We're like playing football on road and stuff, getting his face painted, running around all England mad, and then obviously it all ended in heartache, end at night. So that's sort of a day I definitely do remember from '96.
But not a good day.
Nah, not a good day for us, not for footy, but.
Running off a fact I shot out earlier, Alan Shearer was the top scorer of that tournament with 5 goals in total.
Yeah.
If you were to say to me what team was playing, who was in the team '96, I don't think I'd have a clue. Actually, were you a football fan, Ben? Can you remember anyone from that team?
Yeah, I'm a footy fan. Like, I'm not so much as much nowadays. I follow football because I like fantasy football that I play. But yeah, and obviously Southgate were in there because he missed the penalty.
Was that the infamous?
Yeah,
oh God,
he missed the penalty against Germany that put us out at Wembley. So obviously now we're playing Germany at Wembley, and Southgate's the manager. So if it's gonna go the way that like destiny should make it go, it would be England win on penalties.
That would be
redemption.
Pretty amazing. I've got the squad in front of me. England, are you ready for the squad? David Seaman was our goalkeeper, of course, recognised as one of our best goalkeepers. I often hear people mention him. Gary Neville, Stuart Pearce, Paul Ince, Tony Adams, whose name I don't remember, Gareth Southgate, David Platt, name I do remember that one. Oh, we've got Paul Gascoigne, Alan Shearer, Teddy Sheringham, any other names I remember on there? Jamie Redknapp, Sol Campbell. Wasn't he that massive black dude? Wasn't he, Sol Campbell? Yeah. Was he like a really scary defender or something? I'm sure I remember.
Commanding centre back. Him and Tony Adams both.
I remember him coming up a lot. People talking about him. Les Ferdinand, Phil Neville, another Robbie Fowler, another names I don't know, but yeah, David Seaman was 32 at the time. Oh, look at that picture. That's amazing. I remember just looking at that. It kind of like brings back a memory from years ago of like old school 90s football. Crikey. Stuart Pearce, he looks about 12. Good Lord. Shit. Anything else from that?
Well, I do kind of recall the summer holidays because I remember my friend he was like a child of divorce, so he had both parents like vying for his attention, buying him
Love
everything
it.
he wanted.
Either
So,
they get neglected or they get spoiled, don't they?
yeah, that's the thing. He was spoiled to death. So he had a PC, which like nobody had at the time. Adult games on it, PlayStation, all imported games and that. So I remember playing a lot of Duke Nukem on his PC,
Duke Nukem.
which that came out earlier that year, I believe. Ooh. And another game which obviously everybody will know from that year is Resident Evil, which were obviously a little bit earlier in America. Like I said, he had the imported version. So
did he have an imported like console or was
no?
it...
he had it chipped. You know, he had a lot of games and he had it chipped and that. So.
Yeah, everyone knew someone that had every game, didn't
Yeah.
they? And it was like,
Yeah.
Like
So
they
a
had
lot-
like one of them little binders that they used to flick through. Oh, what's your game should be?
Yeah.
And they used to go through it, but I had like 4 or something.
Yeah, he had everything. So that's probably a vivid memory from summertime. It's just playing on his PlayStation and his PC.
That's good. Jumping on to you, Nathan. 1996. What did it mean to you? Specifically July, but we can obviously cast that over the summertime.
Yeah, well, I do remember the July because I was 10 at the time, and I was going up from year 5 to year 6, so not quite left school like you.
Not quite. Not yet.
Not quite gone to secondary
hadn't
school
left
either,
school.
so,
Yeah.
So I would around. Well,
I need to interrupt. I'm sorry. Now, if anyone was watching the video, you're going to see this, but if you're not, then you obviously you won't. But I'm gonna. Nathan's already seen this, but I'm gonna have to bring in my new little friend to say hello. This is what you were unnamed, weren't you? But now I think we're looking at Pippin for this little cat. What do you think, Ben? Are you a cat fan?
I don't mind a good cat, but
A good cat, bad cats. But they're pure white. This is a slightly fluffy, pure white male. Heterochromia, so we've got the green and blue eyes, which you won't be able to pick up on here. And also a side effect, which a lot of white cats get with blue eyes, is that they are deaf. And this little cat is deaf.
No.
Aren't you? Kind of wasted my time asking you that, didn't I? But yeah, absolutely lovely little cat. Get a close up there. There we go. Yep, that'll do. Right, off we go.
Where's name come from then?
Pippin's obviously Lord of the Rings, isn't it? Cat was like, no, I'm not going. There's a few names that were thrown about.
I'm one of the few people that wouldn't have known that.
Have you not actually seen Lord of the Rings?
No.
Oh, I would say it's worth watching, to be honest. Wouldn't you, Nathan? It's one of your favourite sort of...
Yeah, I've tried to... I always try to talk him into it.
It's very good. It's very good. And it's quite true to the books as well. I believe it's... although I haven't read the books myself, I've read bits of the books. And no one ever complains. It's one of those franchises that no one really complains about. Obviously, people always have something to moan about when it comes to going from a book. Like Game of Thrones is one that people moan about a lot. But yeah, Lord of the Rings, watch it. I prefer the original Lord of the Rings as to The Hobbit. I do like The Hobbit, but I think the Lord of the Rings, the original 3 that came out, do outshine The Hobbit a little bit. But yeah, watch it. It's great. It is great, and it's embedded in like culture so much. You just see references to it all the time. I think you're missing out, Ben. It's old now. It's like old now. It came out years ago.
No. It's not my cup of tea, all that like fantasy stuff and whatnot.
He was going to say crap then, wasn't it? All that fantasy crap, but yeah.
I mean, why do you want to watch Lord of the Rings when you can watch Deadly Prey?
I'm just going to embrace that silence as my answer. And Nathan, was there anything else you remember?
Yeah. I remember Euros has been a big thing. Everybody knows I hate football. I think it's the most boring thing.
You do. I've often said to Nathan, are you watching the football? And it's the case of either he doesn't reply, or he's just like, no.
I've got walls to paint and to stare at instead of watching. So. But weirdly, Euro '96 is the only year I took an interest in football. So I collected all the stickers. You know, the sticker
okay.
like, is it Panini or whatever?
Yes.
I collected all them. I I've mentioned it before. I collect coins. Well, I did when I was a child, like them for years.
Yeah.
I collected all the. I should have brought them down, to be honest.
Oh, them footy
Alan
coins.
Shearer.
Yeah.
I've still got them all.
Are they from that year?
Yeah.
And and you haven't brought them down to show us?
Do you know? It completely escaped my mind until you said like Alan Shearer.
Yeah, I totally forgot about it.
Yeah, I've still got them.
When I post it up on Facebook, you'll have to add a comment with a photo if you remember, just to say these. If anyone, I don't think we've got many football fans, but I would love to. I would love to just see them, just for the '96 nostalgia there.
Yeah. I've also got, if we do a '93 one, the Jurassic Park coins that you used to get in tea bags as well. I've collected all them
in tea bags.
Yeah, in Tetler tea bags, you got like a little cardboard like sleeve with
instead of the tea.
Like 2p.
You'd be like, you throw it in your drink, and you'd be like, "That's not tea. It's a fucking."
Yeah, it's got a Velociraptor on it.
It's just like, "Rawr." Oh, that's brilliant. You don't get collectibles, do you, anymore and stuff?
No, not like that. Not to that quality.
I reckon kids are missing out big time. Used to get Rice Krispies or your Kellogg's or your whatever, and they used to be little plastic, and I know they ban them big time in America because they choke on them, don't they? They don't understand it's not
all the
food, and they just eat them. Kinder eggs are still banned in America, aren't they? I believe as well.
Yeah,
because
we're a big year for collectibles because my main thing were Pogs, if you remember.
Oh yeah,
I never collected Pogs. I had friends that did, but I never
Classic.
did.
That little caveman guy.
Yeah, they were right good, weren't you? Like a
what is that?
like
is that
a human
96? Were Pogs around then? Were they around then? Is that what you're saying?
I can't remember having them.
Yeah, do you used to have little
93?
like? No, I'm just saying. You were saying you had a lot of Pogs and stuff. I didn't know if you were referring to 93 or 96.
Oh no, 96.
Right,
you're not about Tazos, are you? Not Tazos.
Yeah, they come along sort of similar time, didn't they? Were they probably a bit later, 98 or something?
A bit later.
They were like them Star Wars Tazos, weren't they, and stuff like a bit later.
Which I also collected.
Yeah, but with Pogs and that, I used to have them little like plastic, like little plastic carriers, weren't they, where you could fill them up with Pogs and that.
Yeah.
I used to have like a Pog making machine as well, where you'd like make your own Pogs. So you'd be
what?
Cutting stuff out of Argos Catalogue and making it into a Pog and stuff.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Speaking of Argos Catalogues, obviously I was sending you a lot of images from them when I was flicking through for this episode.
You were
flicking through 96, and there were some great bargains on offer.
I do actually. I have some on the list. I will mention that I came across. 96 for me. It was so I've realised that I actually left school in 96, so it would have been the September, but obviously July at the time it would have been done and sort of done with school. And it was 96 that I started in. It was my first year at college. But for me, I look back at 96 it's weird because it was the last year where I spent time with all of my friends. If that from school, if you know what I mean. That that last year you're at school.
Yeah.
And after that, when you go to college, or I don't know whether you guys did A levels or. I didn't do A levels. I went to a local college, and I only maybe saw 2 or 3 people to that college, and the rest went to A levels or did other colleges. And so it's kind of a nostalgic. I don't know. It's a bit miserable in a way thinking about 96. After that, leads me on to sort of like 97, 98. I would have seen. There was a group of us which I would see regularly, but yeah, 96 I would have saw a lot of my friend Chris, who he died in like 97, so it's kind of not a rough year, but it's that year. I'm like, I think in 96 I go, that Chris would have been alive, and it's that kind of miserable.
Yeah, it'll be a lot more vivid. It'll be a lot more vivid for you being a little bit older. Like I said,
yeah,
I was 8, Nathan was 10, so
yeah, and I was. Yeah, I was like I say 16, and it was. I remember it very well. They were those years, those years at school that everyone goes on about. Oh, I hate school, and I'm like, well, there's some of the best years of your lives in terms of socialising with. If you've got a good friend group, anyway, that year can be something that you remember very well. It's slightly morbid on my memories of 96. Memories of July 96 aren't really strong, I'll be honest. I think I was still playing Mega Drive. That would have been the prime focus for me. Film-wise, I never really went to the cinema before I was kind of 18, 19. We didn't have a lot of money, so the first thing I saw at the cinema was Little Mermaid. And then after that, I don't remember going again, and I don't remember what film I saw next. Some people used to go to cinema all the time. I get that. We took our kids quite a few times to the cinema. But for me, thinking of the cinema, I'm like, I don't really remember. I spoke to you about this before, haven't I, Nathan, about just not having that. There's a lot of films which I missed out on. They'd be like, oh yeah, you must have, that was great at the cinema. I'm like, nope, I saw it in 2004. Do you know what I mean? I saw it on the TV, or I'd have to wait until it was on the TV. Yeah, still at home. Still. It was a bit of a non year for me. I went to college, had my first holiday away from my parents. My mum. We went to Butlins, Skegness with college. That was great. That was genuinely a great time. And I remember the Spice Girls song coming out when that came out, which we'll roll on. Seeing as I've mentioned music, I'm going to roll on. I'm going to jump ahead slightly to the song charts, if you two don't mind.
Go for it.
We had the main song from that. This is more specifically towards July, but song charts. A few songs that I've selected that for me stand out. There's a lot of songs that came out, and there was a lot of trash. And I'm going to mention some of these songs, and you might also say they are trash, but they were popular, so popular trash isn't necessarily trash. Spice Girls and Wannabe came out this month and was ridiculously popular. I still sing away with it now with the kids if it comes on the radio or Spotify or whatever. It's a fun song. I liked, and let's be honest, the Spice Girls now are just iconic, aren't they? The characters that they had, they were just fun. It was just fun throwaway pop music, and they weren't even like a one-hit wonder. They did have some other good songs that came out, more specifically from their first album that they released. But do you remember the Spice Girls when you were 8 and 9 or whatever you were?
Yeah, they were massive. Obviously, like I said, everyone knew them. Everyone knew songs. Everyone used to listen to them. Obviously, a product.
Who was your favourite Spice Girl? Who was your favourite Spice Girl?
God knows.
You have to pick one.
Does anyone have a favourite Spice Girl?
Yes, I have.
Maybe it were like, I think everyone would probably just say Jerry, just because she were like ginger. I don't know.
Well, Jerry struck me as like maybe the whore of the group.
Yeah, because she wore that exactly. She wore that slutty dress and that. So
yeah,
maybe that's why a young 8-year-old Ben thought it was his favourite Spice Girl.
Yeah,
that's knew all about it.
That's maybe the one. But the red hair as well.
A bit different.
Magnificent red hair, yeah.
Because obviously they were like, Posh Spice just seemed like a stuck-up bitch.
It's really funny because I recently caught a bit of an interview with the Spice Girls, and they all didn't like the way that Victoria Beckham was portrayed as Posh Spice, because apparently she wasn't really posh. And she was a really nice person, and she was really funny. And she was like one of the favourite within the group. But then she just ended up being kind of like portrayed as this like snob who didn't sing. Yeah. But she was a nice person who, you know, it's just the way they threw her under the bus as this. You can be Posh Spice.
Can you remember the film, that Spice World film?
I've never seen it.
She plays up to that. She's like a posh person in that. So
maybe that she just played up to that persona. You know what I mean?
She was getting paid. She was getting paid, so you just do it, don't you?
But I'm sure I heard that they wanted to get back together and do a reunion tour, and she said she's not doing it. And basically,
she was the only one that
she still wants paying for it or something.
I think you'd get that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You're not doing the job. You ain't getting paid, are you? Fugees, "Killing Me Softly," another classic song that came out that I think everybody remembers. You hear it, you have to sing away to it. It's such a good song. "Three Lions" by Skinner and Baddiel. I'm assuming you remember that one very well, Ben, and obviously going to be singing it when the football's on now.
That's the only good English
"Three
song.
Lions on a show." Just giving it. It's a good one. It was a very good song, wasn't it? I think people remember it as being.
They'll still be cashing in on it, won't they, nowadays?
Of course they will.
Why
not
gets
as
played
well?
all the time. So.
Skinner, Frank Skinner, I absolutely love Frank Skinner. He presents an art show, or he did. I think he's not done it the last couple of seasons. But he had a lot of his money invested in some stuff to do. You know, when there was a bit of a bank crash not long ago, he lost a lot of money. So I want Frank Skinner everywhere. The guy he's funny. He's quietly confident. Anyone can watch Frank Skinner. No one can complain about him. And if you've got a complaint about Frank Skinner, I ain't got time for you. Mysterious Girl, Peter Andre as well. God. Good Lord. When I was looking through the songs, I'm like, oh my God, there's so many amazing songs. I know what you're thinking. It's great. No, it is. It is amazing. Everybody remembers when he's dancing away in the water and he's got...
Yeah, everyone remembers it, but they don't want to remember it unless it's like a girl.
He's got like that black guy, what's his name? Bubba Ranks. And he'd be like some sort of like really strong Jamaican accent or some West Indian accent. The Macarena came out as well. Another massive, albeit a one-hit wonder. Mysterious Girl, you could argue, is a bit of a one-hit. He had a few of he had flavour in a few of the songs, but Mysterious Girl was the one that you remember him for. Macarena. Let's be honest, you go out, every woman knows how to do the Macarena, and about 10% of the men do. If I see it, I'm like, I remember it, but generally I avoid it.
You know it.
Nathan knows it. Guarantee Nathan knows it. Born Slippy by Underworld, which we'll come back to that one.
That was a tune at the time, yeah.
But he was. That's timeless. You can listen to that now and you can just like, yes, it is a banger, definitely. And the theme in the charts, in the song charts, the theme from Mission Impossible was also selling well. By a band called, and I've got it. The band is, or the group, whoever it is, Who Cares? Literally, I couldn't find it. I'm not really bothered. So we're gonna.
I said Limp Bizkit ended up doing one a bit later on, didn't they?
Oh, is that right?
That was probably like 99, something like that. Yeah. Right. I remember they did a version of it.
So we're going. So you was on about the Argos Catalogue. So I was I was looking at the one online, having a look through. And you could buy, are you ready for this, a 29-inch Sony NICAM stereo TV with Fastex and 2 SCART outputs. That's how they build it. That was the title. It wasn't just 29-inch tele. It's the buzzwords, the HDR and the 4K buzzwords. Sony
Fastex sold it for me.
It did. 2 SCART outputs sold it for Ben.
Yeah.
So with Fastex 2 SCART outputs for the great price of, and I'm going to say the price in a second, but I'm staring at this price thinking, would that be right? Does that seem right for the time? When you think about TVs now, and you can buy like a 55-inch TV for less than this now, I'm like, is it? How inflation-wise, does it work out the same?
TVs nowadays are literally made from bloody pieces of like cheap plastic and crappy chips, and they last you like 3 years or something. Whereas like when you bought a CRT, you were getting a beast it'll survive a nuclear holocaust. So build quality and actual like component price, I wouldn't imagine it's too far off like high-end prices today, like in relative terms.
£699 in the Argos would get you that 29-inch. My monitor I'm looking at right now is 27-inch.
29 were big though, weren't it, back in day?
I mean, yeah. I was used to I think I had like a little 12-inch one in my bedroom.
Yeah.
It was this tiny little TV. I think downstairs was maybe 19-inch.
Yeah.
So going up to that 29 must have been like, whoa! Is this? We'll never need a TV bigger than this. Every time you buy a TV, you go, I won't need one bigger than that. And now I've got a 42-inch TV that I use as a tertiary sort of a monitor. And if I want to watch a film on my own, I'll watch it here. And downstairs we've got like I say a 55-inch bloody 4K. HDR, whatever it is, I don't even know, but it's there. However, if it was too big for you, you could always have one of those little portable TVs. So now we don't have portable TVs, we have phones, don't we? Mm. Which is a portable everything, bloody things. So can you remember those? Did you ever want one of those?
I always wanted one of them. Always.
I
never got one.
They were like amazing, weren't they? It's this little box. What? And it's a TV. It's a TV in this little And they were small, weren't they? They were. I mean, what were they? I'm looking at my phone. I'm thinking they're probably about the same size, but they were a lot thicker, weren't they?
Like a Game Boy, I remember them being. Like a Game Boy, but like two Game Boys pressed together.
Like a chunky Game Boy.
With an aerial.
Yeah, like a massive aerial, yeah.
Yeah.
So you
like
could
buy... satellite phone.
It's like satellite phone, yeah. So if you wanted a cheap one, you could get one for £69. And I'm like, that's not bad, is it?
No.
Or you could get this special like top line Casio Slimline one for £149. That's a bit of a jump up in price, but I think it like folded up in that. It looks that good. Looking through the book, it looks that good. Mega Drives obviously were still really popular during this particular time. What consoles were you playing?
I was playing PlayStation. I think we got us PlayStation that year.
Yes.
I think we got it in the June. And I remember that it was someone's birthday party that I had to go to on my brother's birthday, which I wasn't impressed about because I wanted to play PlayStation and I knew he'd got that for his birthday. So I just wanted it to end so I could go and play Crash Bandicoot.
Are we done here? Are we done?
That's what I like. I literally like waiting for time.
Like a proper kid. Like a proper... I am annoyed. Like, I am not going to have any fun. I'm just going to...
Funnily enough, the girl whose party we were, I met her again the last place I worked because she actually worked there, and I said that to her, and she said, "Yeah, I remember. You spoilt my party a bit because she kept wanting to leave." And I was like, "Well, I don't give a shit because I wanted to go on Crash Bandicoot." But she was all right about it. It was fine.
It's funny when you look back on stuff like that, though, isn't it? What were you playing? What were you playing at the time, Ben? Can you remember?
It would have been PlayStation, but what happened with us is we grew up on Sega, and then when it got to PlayStation era, my brother carried on Sega, and I went to Sony. So I had a PlayStation, he had a Saturn, so it would have been a bit of both for them, really.
Oh, that's good. So the Mega Drive, looking through the catalogue this particular month, the Mega Drive was still taking a full spread when it came to being pushed for people to buy. And you could buy one for under £100.
Yeah, that's a great deal, that.
It is. And often they came with, like, say, a couple of games as well.
Like six games, I think. For like £90
Yeah, at this point, I think they were being bundled with, like, Sonic 2 or maybe even Sonic 3. But also you would get those... There was a cartridge which had, like... Originally came out with 3, but then I think they released it with 6 on. Revenge of Shinobi, Golden Axe, Street Fighter... And I think there was like Monaco GP, a crappy football game or something else, But yeah, the PlayStation was in the Argos magazine, the Argos book. But however, it was like just a small section, even though it was brand new. So nowadays, if you've got a new console coming out, that's all you see for like 5 years before it's released. That's all you see. So yeah, quite surprising. But if you go to the next year, it's then taking up more room, and the next year it's more. So obviously... It's like they still had stock that we're trying to get. We've still got like 300,000 Mega Drives. Let's just keep advertising it. But the fact that it was so cheap, I mean, people still buying it. I'd be interested to know how many people had a Mega Drive and carried on playing it and then how many years they would still before they gave out. It's like me at home. We mostly PC gamers here, but we have an Xbox. The Xbox One S, and we haven't gone up to the new generation of console yet, and I'm not even sure if we will. There's not much of a call for it in our family to do it. Maybe next year, we'll see.
I think with Mega Drive, the people who would have carried on buying the Mega Drive and games and stuff, probably like the older people at the time. Obviously, we were kids, so we wanted like the latest. But I think a lot of like older people who grew up with Mega Drive when they were a bit older maybe went back and, because you would have been able to get games like super cheap.
Yeah.
So I think there've been a lot of people like that who were like, I wanted to get that when it come out, but I couldn't afford it, sort of thing. Probably carried on playing it a lot.
Definitely. I agree. So jumping on to some... we'll go towards some games that were released at this time. You mentioned the Saturn earlier, and Bomberman came out for the Saturn. Now, Bomberman has been, I think, released on probably every platform. I think I've got a copy of it somewhere on one of my libraries on PC. I love Bomberman. I used to play it a lot with. I played it with my wife. I played it with friends. There's nothing more satisfying than upgrading your little Bomberman and laying about 6 mines in various places, hiding in a corner and hoping that you'd kill someone. I mean, I'm assuming we all have similar memories of playing Bomberman.
It's a good party game, isn't it, basically?
Yeah.
It's like one of the original sort of party games, isn't it? Because it's fun. That, and maybe Worms as well. That kind of multiplayer, like killing each other, sort of.
I think Bomberman were one of the earlier ones where you got a multi-tap and you could have 4 people on it, even on like Mega Drive and stuff like that.
You might be right there. That rings a bell for some reason. You're saying that might be something to look into. Because you could have 4 players, couldn't you? And a lot of consoles only support the two inputs. Bomberman, great game, still popular. Probably one of those top 10 games that is just progressed and just jumped from platform to platform, and not necessarily gotten better, because I think a lot of the iterations were very good, but certainly stood that test of time in terms of being able to sit down, play it with yourself. You can just play against AI, or like I say, drag someone in and play with them as well. Yeah, definitely a good game. On the SNES,
some of them like just. I think Saturn Bomberman is one where they have like a story mode and that. So
there was a story mode introduced to Bomberman where you would you'd have to do something, and then you'd go to like a new map, and it wouldn't be like a normal map. It would be different, wouldn't it? You'd have like tasks to do, and then I do remember something like that. We also have, games-wise, we have... Nathan, do you remember this at all? It's because you're an RPG fan, aren't you? It's called Star Ocean. Does that ring a bell for you at all?
Yeah.
Ben's nodding.
I remember it, but I didn't play it, I don't think.
Right.
Did you play that, Ben?
No, I never played it. I know of it. I've had small like goes on it later on in emulation and stuff. It's like a sci-fi RPG, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, never dug too much time into it, but yeah, I'm aware of it. I know it's a big franchise, big fan favourite.
And the last game I wanted to mention on here was King of Fighters, which is one of those games that goes up against the other fighting games obviously released. This was called King of Fighters 96, of course, because it came out. I like that. I can appreciate that. It came out in 96. We call it 96. I never really played much of King of Fighters. Did you guys play any of King of Fighters?
Yeah, I used to play it a lot, but it wouldn't have been around 96. It was basically when MAME and stuff came around. So that would have been like early 2000s.
Yeah.
So like when you got MAME and you had access to like every arcade game you could ever get. Like King of Fighters were stuff that you used to see in magazines or maybe when you went to an arcade. So like I'd seen it about and I really wanted to play it because I used to love fighting games. So as soon as MAME came around, that were like one of things I used to play a lot of, like a lot of King of Fighters. It
wasn't one of those games that you would necessarily play on your Mega Drive or something. So King of Fighters 96 came out on Neo Geo, Neo CD, and also Saturn.
Yeah, I had a Neo Geo CD for a brief period. Obviously, that were a bit later on. Yeah, but thing with that is not like the Saturn were all right because that would just load as normal. But a Neo Geo CD, you would literally have to wait about 3 minutes between a round, to wait for it to load up. So it just weren't playable for a fighting game.
Yeah,
because you want to keep that adrenaline going. You want to go like fight. You don't want to be waiting around. It's going back to the Amiga, aren't we? Waiting around for stuff like that. Can't be doing with that. What's that about? That was all the games I had. There was only 3 really worth mentioning for July. When you look at 96 itself, there was plenty of decent games, but July was limited. But like I say, King of Fighters, Star Ocean, and a very much classic in Bomberman, although it was for the Saturn, which wasn't really played by many people. We're going to go on.
I was going to say, I think looking back over like games throughout history, like looking back at 90s and stuff, a lot of the big hitters tend to come out at the beginning of the year, like after Christmas or like towards end of the year before Christmas, don't they? So summer months, I think a lot of us kids, especially at that time, would have been out playing with their mates and stuff. I don't know if games industry knew like focused the releases around Christmas because they knew sort of summer holidays weren't really a big deal back then to be like, oh, big summer games come out. It's more about your film and just going out and playing and stuff.
That's a very good point. Yeah. I think a lot of people were just having fun doing other stuff. Maybe the middle of the year is a bit of an odd one for being stuck in the house, isn't it?
Mm.
So let's jump on to some films. So I've got films that came out in July, but I've also got a small list of films that have their box office results for July, so they would have come out the previous month. So 3 films that I picked up on. The first one was Matilda, a very popular film now, and I know a lot of people that have seen it and loved it. Did you remember Matilda at all?
Yeah, I actually saw that at the cinema, but not at a proper cinema, because we went to Butlins and they had it on at Butlins, like in a Butlins cinema.
Okay.
So I watched it like 8 times that week, because you could just walk in and watch it whenever you wanted.
Go and watch that film.
It was that and Fly Away Home. If you remember that.
I don't know.
I've never watched that since that. Yeah, that were. I always get confused. Either in from Dumb and Dumber or in from Independence Day. You know, the president or Harry. I can't remember the actor's name. I always get them too confused. It were him anyway in Fly Away Home, and I don't think it did that well. But I watched it loads of times.
Jeff Daniels, that was him. He was in Dumb and Dumber, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Jeff Daniels, yeah.
Yeah, we're an alright film. Not as good as Matilda, which we loved as kids, because my brother and my sister, we had it on video as well, and we used to watch it all the time. So I could literally watch that and go over like all the words and everything. We were actually planning on tricking you at this bit, Lee. Which I was gonna test your knowledge on Matilda, and I was gonna pretend that my childhood was Matilda's childhood, but I didn't know if it'd resonate very well with you. I didn't know how well you knew the film, so I was gonna
The thing is,
that I didn't start school until this year and stuff.
I haven't watched Matilda.
That's what I had a
never.
suspicion. Me and Ben planned it all out, exactly what I was going to say, and it come across so well. And I thought, if I do this and you have no idea and you've not seen the film, it's going to go down like a lead balloon. I'm just going to be
going, all right, yeah.
Yeah, that I didn't start school until I was 10.
And then I'm going to go, right, anyway, on to...
Exactly. You wouldn't have done it.
You can feel free to trick me some other time.
We will do. When it's a film I know you've definitely watched, I'll trick you.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'll look forward to it. Yeah. Matilda. So some memories of Matilda. I remember the actress, her face. She's got that. She was perfect. That cute little face, wasn't she? They did a good job.
Missed Outfire and Miracle on 34th Street.
Yeah.
Very good choice there. The budget for that film, though, this is the good one. It was $36 million. These are all in dollars. I haven't got the. I'm not converting them over. $36 million, but the box office was only $33 million. So it didn't do well at box office. But it strikes me as one of those films that everybody owned on, like, you know, DVD, VHS, whatever, and they'd have it at home and they'd be like, oh, should we watch Matilda? It strikes me as one of those sort of films that you'd watch with the kids. Maybe it's more popular afterwards than it was at the cinema.
It probably had a better life on VHS and that, rather than at box office.
I imagine there's a lot of films that are like that. I'm going to jump onto another film, which is I've seen once and I loved it, and I definitely should get around to watching it again. It's a film that I would say is iconic in the memories that people have. It came across there were parts of it which were very violent. There were some parts very aggressive, some shocking parts to it. Maybe one of my first memories of Ewan McGregor, who was in it, was in this film, is Trainspotting. I'm hoping you've all seen Trainspotting.
Yeah.
And did what I just say resonate in terms of how it affected you when you watched it?
Mm-hmm. Not when I was 10 though. I didn't watch it until I was like.
See, I watched it when I was 8.
You go cinema. You go cinema to watch it.
No,
they're like.
When I grew up, basically my auntie run a video shop, like the best one in the village. So from like my memories of old films coming out is what came through the video shop, and
Right.
at the time what everybody were renting. So obviously when Trainspotting came in there, it had that great vivid. They had a few copies, and it was like the poster where it had different characters on the case.
Is that
You
like
had-
an orange stripe with the different pictures? It was a brilliant. I remember that banner sort of thing.
Yeah.
Amazing potent posters and that. Yeah.
So it really stood out. So I saw that come in, and then like my uncle and my cousins at the time, who were older, obviously, were renting it, and everyone were talking about it. So, like, basically, my auntie had just let me take whatever video I wanted home. So I watched like a lot of inappropriate stuff from a young age. And that were one of them when it wouldn't have been when it came out at cinema, so it wouldn't have been July. It would have been a bit later on. But yeah, I remember watching it. Obviously, not understanding it fully.
Yeah.
But like the like visual scenes, like when he falls into the toilet and stuff like that, I always remember like them sort of bits. Obviously, opening scene with Iggy Pop and stuff like that. So
Talking about is it the to choose life thing, isn't it? All that.
Yeah.
Amazing film, Nathan. You remember that film as well? I'm so hoping.
Yeah, I used that intro as a quiz question on one of our film nights, didn't I? That we had last year now, not a few months ago. But yeah, it is a very iconic film, and I did enjoy it when I watched it as an adult, but it did obviously pass me by because my aunt didn't own a video shop, so I wasn't allowed to watch it. I can remember pestering my mum, I don't think it was 1996, it might have been a bit later, to watch East is East because we got that on video, and she wouldn't allow me to watch that. She was quite strict, even though my dad let me watch like Predator and People Under the Stairs and stuff. I weren't allowed to watch Trainspotting.
My dad let me watch Predator.
Yeah.
Oh, did you see that post I put on Facebook? I haven't got you on Facebook, have I, Ben? Did you see it, Nathan, what I put?
Predator 2 was better than... I couldn't chime in on that.
I like Predator 2. I
know you did, yeah.
I put Predator 2 is better than the first one. And
I think I agree with that.
Ooh, Ben, I love it. Yeah, so I put it on, and I was hoping there was... I didn't think you'd respond, Nathan, unless you gave it a little, like, a gif. But... Terry responded, there's someone else that responded, and I was hoping my cousin would respond, but he didn't respond. I enjoy Predator 2 more than Predator 1. I find Predator 2 is a bit more watchable. I like the different locations.
I like the urban like hot, sticky summer in LA, and it's dirty.
It's gritty. I like that initial scene, that big shootout that they have.
And Danny Glover's that disgruntled cop and that. Like,
I love Danny Glover. He's
good in that.
From Lethal Weapon and then going on to
he's basically the same character.
Of course he is. Yeah, solid. The cast I think is better as a. I know people love Predator, but I think that's like the meta, isn't it? The Predator is one of the best films. Like
obviously Predator 1 stands like head and shoulders above a lot of films at the time. Obviously, I had a solid cast and Arnie and everything he had going for it. But just from like nostalgia and personal preference, I always like number 2 more.
I don't knock number 1. I think it's a really good film.
Yeah.
But I think Arnold carries it.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's the problem for me with that film, is that Arnold carries it. I know he's the main character, but I think if it wasn't for him, could it still be as good? And I'm thinking, maybe it's not. But Predator 2, you could probably take Danny Glover out, replace him, and it would probably still be as equally as good. A bit of a hot take on Predator films. Sorry if I've upset anyone. No, well, I'm not. I'm not. Jumping from Trainspotting, going on to a film which I have seen once years ago, and I want to see it again because I rewatched the trailer, and I was like, "This is really good. It looks really good." It is the Trainspotting budget was 1.5 million. It made 72 million at the box office.
Smashed it.
That just shows how good it is. The Frighteners. Do you remember the Frighteners? Mm-hmm. Michael J. Fox. He was like
it's Peter Jackson, isn't it? I don't think I saw it.
Is it Peter Jackson?
I'm sure it's Peter Jackson.
But yeah, Michael J. Fox looks fun. It has like a fun sort of a vibe to it. I need to watch it. Nathan, you mentioned it. You've seen it, yeah?
Yeah, I tried to watch it a lot of times when I was a kid, and I could never stomach it. And then, not because it's scary, because it's quite
I can't do it.
And then, I watched it as an adult, like probably about 15 years ago now, and it still had that same. But I forced myself to watch it all. It's quite a boring film. It's not. It looks good. and it's you think it would be good, but I can understand why it doesn't stick out in people's memories as a good film.
When did Casper come out?
1993.
1995.
95?
95, Casper, yeah.
Oh.
Hang on, or was it the second one? No, it was the first one, Casper. 1995 it came out. 93 was a very good guess, don't get me wrong. But I was just thinking, was it coming off the coattails of that film? Was it trying
Probably, yeah.
Because it has a similar vibe to it, doesn't it? That definitely does.
Yeah, well, that's 90s is like that, isn't it? Like 5 films come out all at the same time, roughly around like a similar vein.
Do you remember The Frighteners, Ben?
No, like I said, I know of it.
Right.
I've never seen it. I remember seeing it in video shop knocking about.
Right. Well, actually, the cover to the its poster, like the VHS sort of cover, it looks very scary. It's kind of like this face coming through this like sheet. It looks scary, but I think the film doesn't. The film doesn't sort of represent. It doesn't follow off that scariness of the.
No, it is like Casper, like the scariness of Casper. Basically.
Yes, that fun kind of boo, that kind of crap. So running off films that came out in July, we've got what was the big box office hits that would have come out either early July or previously June. Mission Impossible would be the biggest one, and love or hate Tom Cruise. Very good film. I quite like Mission Impossible. I've got nothing against it. I think there's too many of them now. I think what we're on like Mission Impossible 25 or something.
Yeah, the most forgettable film series, Mission Impossible.
Yeah, although the first one...
Nobody's ever excited for one.
I will say...
Nobody ever like, yes.
Yeah, I don't know if you agree, but the first one, not too bad. And then the other one's just kind of like, oh, it's another one, it's another one, it's another one. Not like... Yeah. I mean, I know you could say the same thing for like Star Trek, there's loads of Star Trek films. But at the same time, they're all different, aren't they? They're all very different. Whereas Mission Impossible, they kind of follow that formula. They're all kind of... they're like Jean-Claude Van Damme films, all kind of like very similar.
It's just like 80% him running, so...
Exactly. And he injures himself when making every one, doesn't he? It's always in the news.
Yeah.
80 million budget. It made 457 million at the box office. God knows what it made. Carrying on from that. Happy Gilmore. I haven't seen it. You two. Ben, have you seen it?
Oh, yeah. Classic. Proper classic. One of Adam Sandler's actually good films. When he were actually making good films.
It was very young, wasn't it, when he made it as well?
Yeah, well, this was like his heyday, wasn't it? Really, when he like Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, that time era, that era. But this was one I wouldn't have actually seen in 90s. I think I picked it up later. Do you know when it were like doing rounds at VHS from school or DVD? Even might have been when DVD come out. So I don't think Adam Sandler to me as a kid, as an 8-year-old, were like a thing. Not until we got into like a bit older, he were like, oh yeah, it's Adam Sandler. Oh.
Yeah, my first experience of Adam Sandler would have been Wedding Singer.
Yeah, Wedding Singer.
Which I love. Mainly because it's set like 80s, isn't it? But I love Wedding Singer. I think it's a great story. I think he plays a great character. Drew Barrymore as well. Everyone loves Drew Barrymore. She's amazing. And yeah, that's my favourite Adam Sandler film. Just running off, going from Happy Gilmore. But Nathan, you like Happy Gilmore, don't you?
Yeah, I watched it when I was about 16, though, not when I was 10. But I'm glad I did, because I could appreciate it. Cause it was just my right level of humour when I was 16. So
that's stupid.
And I could still watch it now perfectly. Yeah, that's stupid. You can quote every line. I mean, when we and Ben were talking about it the other week, we basically just said all film from all lines that were in it that are memorable.
I need to watch it.
It's on Netflix at the minute, I think. Because I watched it for the first time in years, like around Christmas time. So I was like, oh, what should I watch? And I saw it pop up, and I'd not watched it for ages. So yeah,
I'll have to watch
it out.
So that was a 12 million budget, 41 million at the box office. So a reasonable return, but not massive. Twister was a film. I love Twister. In fact, I think we all like Twister here. Me and my wife like Twister. 88 million for a budget, which is quite a lot. Probably all those special effects at the time that had to be done on like calculators and stuff. 495. It made more than Mission Impossible. Interesting. 495 million. Do you remember Twister?
I do. But I had to Google it to work out which one it were because it's that, like I was saying with 90s, that were in the midst of like a natural disaster sort
the
of
disaster
like,
era of films.
Yeah, so it were. I've definitely seen it, and I can remember enjoying it when I watched it. It's just my first thought were Pierce Brosnan. That I thought it was Pierce Brosnan. I think he's
that's
Speak or something like
that. Dante's Peak is
or Volcano.
I do not like
there were that many of them. They were like every disaster
Armageddon.
that could happen. Yeah. So it fell into that category for me where it was only forgettable because the market was so saturated with all the same films. But it is a good, from what I remember, it is a good film. I haven't watched it since it came out, maybe.
Really? I think you should watch it, maybe. I think, the kids might enjoy it. It's So, of course, it had Bill Paxton, who you mentioned earlier you didn't realise had died, and Helen Hunt, and she was in quite a lot of stuff around that time as well. Two great actors in there. A handful of other people, including Philip Seymour Hoffman, who most people will recognise from... what's it called again? Catching Fire. What's it called?
Hunger Games.
Hunger Games. People, but he's not with us anymore. He's also gone. A few other sort of characters who are kind of unforgettable. A generally good film. I like it how it's not like a disaster that's destroying the world. How it's just something isolated. These horrible whirlwind twisters kind of going through, and then they would have to find out information, whether they were storm chasers. And you have a fact about that, don't you? And at the end they put in they have these little devices that they have to put at the bottom of this tornado. It would take them up, wouldn't it? And it would record all the information, and then it would help them in some way or another. But your information, other than the fact that you didn't realise that Bill Paxton had died, what was it again? Came up.
When he died, I think. Did I say 2017?
I believe so.
Yeah, the Storm Chasers Society. I can't remember the acronym what they have, but they did a tribute for him where they did spell out BP in like GPS signal trackers, and I think it was the 5th time they've ever done that, and that's the first time for someone who wasn't an actual storm chaser.
Right.
Just because he was in the film.
I think. But would you have known about the Storm Chasers if it wasn't for Twisted? I reckon there's a lot of people. It's one of those films which is a film about what? It's like, oh, what? And then you watch it and you go, interesting. I didn't even know this was a thing. Bill Paxton, the last thing he was in that I think's worth mentioning would have been Edge of Tomorrow. He played Master Sergeant Farrell, which you like Edge of Tomorrow, don't you?
Yeah.
You mentioned it a few times.
It's a really good film.
It is a good film. I'm sure there was on about doing another one as well.
Yeah, I saw something the other day saying that there were sequels in the works.
Yep. I'm going to run on to some general news now because we've kind of done our main releases in the media world. So I know you've got a couple of bits, but I'm going to mention that Hotmail was launched. Now, everyone at some point has had a Hotmail account. It was that first introduction to email for a lot of people. It was like cool Hotmail, oh yeah, you got what's your Hotmail? It was that sort of thing. You wouldn't say what's your email. You'd be like, what's your Hotmail? Have you got a Hotmail? It won't be, because it would also link a lot of other things together in the same vein that Google Mail, which obviously people references Gmail now does. It connects a lot of different things together. I had a Hotmail. I think I probably had 2 Hotmails at some point. I can't remember what. I think my Hotmail was just like leebottom@hotmail.com or whatever. But I believe that it got hacked and I just abandoned it. It's just sitting out there somewhere. I might try and log into it one day, but they probably tell me I can't. So Hotmail was launched. My other thing was that creeping onto August the 1st was when A Song of Ice and Fire was published. Obviously Game of Thrones, for those who don't understand what A Song of Ice and Fire is, which is understandable, because you don't hear it all that much. So that would have been obviously finished off in July and released August the 1st. And you've got a few other bits of news, haven't you?
I have. Some of it ties into Twister as well. We've got... Yeah, I'll say that one. The N64 was released in June, so just the month before, but only in Japan. We had to wait like another year or whatever to get it. Also, DVDs for the first time ever were released, and they were also in Japan. And we didn't get them until March 1998, which is quite a big leap. But then we were discussing it beforehand. Australia didn't get it until February 1999, a year after us. So they were still rocking VHS Australia till like nearly 2000. And Twister fact to go with that would be that was the first ever DVD released was Twister, and it was also the last HD DVD. If anyone can ever remember that as being a thing. They're my quick facts from 1996.
Very good. So DVDs were first out in Japan.
Yeah, they got them like 2 years before us, basically.
Ben, thoughts on DVD? Anything?
Yeah, I don't know. It's sort of that. It's that weird one DVD, isn't it? We're in middle at VHS and Blu-ray, and it's sort of like the inferior format, I think. So I think now you've got nostalgia for VHS, and Blu-ray is obviously a way better version of a DVD, and especially an HD DVD. That was just like a load of crap that basically got chucked out as soon as Blu-ray come along. So it's sort of a bit of it probably became a cheap format, and everyone had a load of DVDs, and that's probably where a lot of people got exposed to a lot of films who weren't exposed to them in VHS era. But yeah, it's basically I've replaced all my DVDs with Blu-rays or VHSs. So,
can you remember some of your first? I personally can remember my first DVD. I can remember my first two, and I'll tell you what we're in a second.
The ones we used to get were like when you bought a DVD player, and you used to get them like 3 movies with it, but they were like a double-sided disc, so you'd have one movie on one side, one another, and it were always like a rate bad early Jackie Chan film, like the Jackie Chan film where Jackie Chan had done like 10% of filming, and then he'd left the project, so then they filled in with like a rate bad double.
Oh God!
It was like one of them type films, and God knows, a load of like cheap crap that basically they give you for no. They would be my like first memory to getting DVD, because when you got the player, you'd straight away put them in. I don't really have that many. Most memories of DVD would be like just getting copied DVDs or downloading films and burning them to DVD and stuff. It weren't like I ever really bought too much of it. We're like they get passed around at school and stuff.
Yeah. I used to get a lot of copied VHSs, but never really copied DVDs, to be fair.
But we had a DVD burner and CD burners and stuff like when they just first come out. So
some fancy. What's this? What's some fancy shit here, Nathan? What's this?
Yeah, I know.
I had every console. I had a DVD burner.
Yeah, we were quite spoiled, like as kids. So we're like, oh, there's a DVD burner. Let's get one, and then because I used to like sell them at school and stuff as well, and on eBay.
Oh my! I'm debating whether to cut this out of this podcast, to be honest with you. We've got some criminal enterprise boss here chatting away.
I used to make some rate money at school, I'm telling you. To have my list go around.
Get your list around, what films you got available.
Yeah, exactly.
Get back to you in a few days. Oh my God. He's got like this PC, right, with like 7 DVD burners all linked up, and he just like get them all burning off.
I used to do all like discs and that, where you could print a sticker at disc, like get the artwork and print it onto it and stuff. Proper good stuff, man.
This is where your hobby, your artistic nature comes from, isn't it?
Maybe, yeah. I've always doing stuff like that as a kid.
There's something there, definitely.
Maybe.
Yeah. So Hotmail and August, and sorry, Nathan, you was on with your news, wasn't you? My apologies. But we wandered off into DVD hell there.
I know, I did say I'd finished, but I've just realised I've got 2 other bits of news. eBay and Ask Jeeves came. Well, eBay came out the year before, but the like coding thing, to be able to actually do online auctions didn't come in until July 96. So we've got that, and Rate Good Popular, still used to this day. Ask Jeeves, if everyone.
I'm gonna say that when you just said that's just took me back. Remember Ask Jeeves?
Yeah.
Ask Jeeves were like the tits back in the day. Everyone
was good. Yeah. Ash
I
Jeeves
remember
was like... Go on.
I remember that the first ever like Easter egg on internet of you could ask him because everyone did it in my IT class. Like, go to Ask Jeeves and then ask him if he's gay. Like, because obviously school kids being school kids and idiots, that's what we wrote. So you're like, are you gay or something to Ask Jeeves? Because weirdly you'd ask him something and then he'd take you to a website or whatever, like a Google for anyone who don't know, and he'd be like, yes, I'm very happy or something, you know, like some other thing would kick in, like an Easter egg or something.
Some cocky programmer is going to be like, someone's going to ask me that question, so I need to program something in. He'd be like, yes, I'm very happy, thank you.
Yeah, because everyone just kept on asking him that all the time because they were stupid children.
I think that's hilarious. That's what it's like. That's the equivalent of writing boobless on your calculator, isn't it?
Yeah.
Exactly. I love it. I used Ash Jeeves a little bit, but I'll be honest, not a lot. I remember it, but I don't think I used it to its full power. Definitely a lot. Didn't you have something about Princess Diana? Was there something about...
Yeah. Charles and Diana got divorced in this month of this year as well, if anyone can remember that. Also, the other one, I can't remember the names, like the Duchess of Kent or whatever they're called, you know, Fergie and Andrew or whoever they are, they also got divorced this year. I'm not sure if it's the same month. But yeah, Charles and Diana, big...
Shit, we're going down, wasn't it? It was like... Royal family was
it? I think it was less than a year later, weren't it, when she died as well?
I've got notes for 1997 August, and she died actually in August 31st. Sorry, was killed. So like she was killed.
Yeah.
She was killed in a...
later, so.
I'll add it in a car crash, but I don't like that bit. Princess Diana killed August 31st. Yes. So is that it then? Are we done for news?
Yeah, well, there were mad cow disease, but I think less said about that the better.
I think I remember seeing more about mad cow disease and Diana getting... I don't really remember the divorce. I remember her death, but not the divorce. I think I remember seeing it, but then being like, okay, I don't really care. I don't really give a shit about the royal family. Right, you two, news done. I've got a little quiz. Now you two are going to buzz through this. You're going to buzz through it because I know you're both film buffs. Now, this film, when I was looking for a film, and my parameters were it could have come out late 95 and was big. It kind of hit big time during 96, or it came out in 96. Is that fair? That's fair because there's lots of this one. Yeah. I like this one because I figure we both, you two will both know it. All you've got is 20 questions. I've got a load of facts in front of me about it, so that I'll be referencing if I need to. But you can ask me a question and I will say yes, I will say no, or I will say pass if I feel I can't give a good enough answer on it. And I apologise if I say pass, but sometimes that will happen. So go for it. You can ask me anything you want, and I will do my best to answer it. And I will be marking down. Every time you ask me a question, I'll be marking down, and we'll see if one of you can get it. And if you can get it, you'll be the winner. And then we'll repeat this if it goes well on our next Back in Time episode. So feel free to ask me a question.
Go on, Nate. You start us off.
Is it a kids' film? Or would be classed as a kids' film?
Like, you mean like a family film?
Yeah. Is it family friendly?
I will say yes.
Oh. I think I've got it already. But... I'll play this out a little bit longer.
Don't say it if you think
I'm not going to say it.
The thing is that you could just kind of get it, but yeah, it's that one. Because there's only a handful of, let's say, really big family films. Although I think this is not in the top 20 of the highest grossing films of 96. So that might sort of like sway you a little bit on that. It wasn't massive. It was not massive.
My recollection of a lot of films at 90s, I wouldn't specifically be able to pinpoint the year they come out unless I looked it up, because to me they all sort of blurred, and you might have picked them up later or a year later, two later. So I was struggling to even think of a question what might narrow it down here. Family film.
The thing is, though, you can ask anything. Is it was there a female lead? Is it a male? Is it so we've already established that it's a family film. Nathan, if you think you've got it, let's stretch out 10 questions at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did it have a big actor in it then? It's a main lead.
Yes.
Like a big name. Yeah.
Yes.
With a male.
Yes.
The big actor, a male. Yeah.
That's 3 questions. Yes.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah. So family film and a famous male actor as the lead, which is probably typical for most 90s films, to be fair. Yeah.
The famous male actor also classed as a comedian?
Yes.
This is what I was thinking. This is the one I'm thinking of. There's 2 people that jump to mind, but first one were Robin Williams. So is it Robin Williams?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Nathan seems to know it, so I think I know it now.
Curveball at you. Is Pierce Brosnan in it? Are you having to Google this?
Well, I'm good. I'm going to check because I didn't know if it was a trick question. I do not. I know what you're on about, but I believe the answer is no.
See,
no.
I weren't thinking that specific film. I don't
know.
No.
No. This I'm just chucking this in there.
To try and throw me off?
No, I tried to throw everyone off. Right, you've got next question, and then I'll ask another.
Like I said, I'm not too sure what actual year this were, but was the character's name Alan Parrish?
All right, we can stop messing about now, can't we?
Right,
that's the one that comes to my mind.
I had a very good question for the next one.
The main character is Alan Parrish. Nathan, let's have your question.
Is he portrayed in the film as a child and then an adult? That's what my next question is going to be.
Right, yes.
Also, does he wear shirts similar to this one?
Yeah.
That's the other question.
I'm not Googling up an image of what he was wearing. So we can establish that the film was...
Good Morning Vietnam, obviously, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Mrs. Doubtfire, like I said.
Yeah. Now, we've all got it now.
Who would like to say it?
Yeah, you go for it, Lee.
No, I'm not going to say it. Jumanji. So Ben wins this round then, because Ben said it first. We'll do that one. So obviously, Mrs. Doubtfire came out in 93. You could easily... the description was pretty similar other than that.
Jumanji popped in my head first, and then when Nathan said Pierce Brosnan, I was like, oh, it's not Miss Doubtfire. Sure it is.
That one, my curveball one to throw...
Yeah.
Throwing the viewers off. That's what I was doing with that one.
Can you name any other famous cast in it? It's a struggle, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who were female?
Kirsten Dunst.
Not the kid, the actual woman.
The woman is Green Mile, Tom Hanks' wife. But I can't remember
she's been in a few things. Yeah.
Her name, if I think it's the right one, Bonnie Hunt.
I was gonna say Hunt. I was thinking like when you mentioned Ellen Hunt earlier, but I thought it's not Ellen Hunt.
It's Bonnie Hunt. Yeah. Who was? Who else was she in? What else was she in? Did you say?
Green Mile.
Oh, was she
Tom Hanks' wife?
I didn't realise that. 55 credits. What we've got: Toy Story. She's in Toy Story, Green Mile, Bugs Life,
Bo Peep. Yeah.
Jumanji, Beethoven the Second, Rain Man. She was in Rain Man as well. Yeah, she's been in quite a few things. So I was hoping it wouldn't be as easy as that for that one, but I think I'll pick on the harder one.
You underestimated us.
Well, I mean, a few good questions, and if you knew what came out, I guess you could nail it. But yeah, well done to both of you for that. What's it been like rolling past a bit of 96? Has it been nice to sort of have brought back any old memories you didn't think you had?
Nostalgic. That's what it's been like.
Yeah, just a few. I think the music got it for me. Like Macarena, 96. Oh, I remember that. That's,
dipping into all like football and stuff. Like I said, it's a bit relevant at a minute, but because I don't tend to remember like when I was younger, like probably a lot of people, is the specific years unless there were a specific event or something. So straight away when you said 96 July. Euro 96 popped in my head. So. But
next year,
that with you.
Yeah, I mean, next episode I was looking at doing 97 and August, but I think maybe for the benefit of YouTube, I'll pick something that's a little bit, we'll say it was a little bit older. We'll maybe look at that.
Like 98, 99 would be a vivid time for me.
All right, we could even do 2000. We could do 2000 maybe. I think we'll do 2000, and then we'll go to we'll do something different on the next one. So that's the end of that. I've had a great time having a chat about 96. It was a good year for some reasons, but although it's not so much. Thank you for joining us today on our first Back in Time special, which will be a recurring special because we've enjoyed ourselves so much. Thank you for joining us, Sage's Retreat. Big thanks to Ben for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
More than welcome. You can come along anytime you like, and a big thanks to Nathan as per the usual.
Thanks a lot, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.